Welcome to this video. Meal planning and preparation for busy people. If you're like most people, getting delicious, healthy meals on the table every day is a daily effort. Why not attempt meal planning and meal preparation instead of giving in and going through the drive-thru or ordering pizza 3 evenings a week? Here are some things to consider about each of these possibilities in order to save time and money while still preparing healthy meals for your family every day. What is the definition of meal planning? You must first plan your meals before you can begin meal preparation. Naturally, you'll concentrate your meal planning efforts on this. Meal planning simply entails determining what meals you will prepare in the near future. It can be as extensive as you like. However, the more information you include in your meal planning, the better. You'll know what to prepare and how to prepare it better if you start with meal planning. This will save you time because you won't have to run to the store every day to decide what to cook for dinner that night. You've known what you're going to eat for at least a week. Here's how meal planning works, but bear in mind that there's a lot of space for creativity. How long should you plan for? The first thing you should decide is how much meal planning you want to do, in terms of how many days or weeks ahead of time you want to plan. This is entirely up to you, and a variety of criteria should be taken into account. Consider how much time you have for meal planning and preparation, how often your family enjoys trying new dishes, and how much money you have to spend at the store preparing these meals. You should also think about how much space your refrigerator and freezer have. For the timeline, planning 3 weeks ahead of time is good, but if you don't have a place to put anything, you might not be buying food for that long. If you're just getting started, try planning for one entire week and see how it goes. This should include breakfast, lunch, supper, snacks, and desserts, as well as any other meals and snacks your family will consume during the week. It includes dinners you'll make at home with leftovers, lunches you'll take to work or school with your kids, and any additional goods you'll need, such as brownies for a neighborhood picnic or other special events. A good place to begin meal preparation if you're not sure where to begin when it comes to meal planning, start by taking inventory of what you have in your kitchen. Create a list of everything you have in your cupboard and refrigerator, then figure out what meals you can make with it. This should get you started, and you'll only need some filler components after that. You could have practically all of the ingredients for homemade biscuits on hand, so you know you can make a dinner out of them to save money and time. Once you've figured out what you already have, start thinking about the different meals that your family would enjoy, but don't forget to think about how each of those meals will be prepared. If you know you'll be short on time, plan ahead of time or make meals that can be cooked in the slow cooker all day while you're at work. How to make a detailed meal plan. Once you've begun jotting down some ideas for meals for the week, try to be as specific as possible. Make a note in your plan if you anticipate having leftovers from a chicken dinner for lunch for the next 2 to 3 days. This reduces the number of lunches you need to make, saving you even more time when it comes to preparing your various dinners for the week. After you've made a list of the meals, make another list of all the foods you'll need to buy, less what you currently have. Providing flexibility throughout the week while planning each meal ahead of time is a terrific way to save time over the week. There will be times when things don't go as planned. Make sure to leave some leeway in your meal preparation and planning. For example, you might want to go out to dinner because your spouse recently received a significant promotion and you want to celebrate. Don't be hesitant to rejoice simply because you had planned to make spaghetti that night. Simply rearrange your schedule and plan it for another night. Meal planning is supposed to make things easier for you, not to put you in a bind. Make provisions for leftovers on your menu. Always consider leftovers or selecting foods that can be utilized for numerous meals when preparing your meals. If you know you're going to prepare chicken and dumplings, buy more chicken breasts than you'll need and freeze the rest. This gives you enough chicken for that meal as well as chicken soup, salads, sandwiches, and other dinner options. Having an extra chicken on hand will help you save money and time. What is the difference between meal prepping and cooking? Meal planning and meal prepping are frequently confused, although they are two distinct concepts. Meal planning is just deciding what you will eat in the future. When you meal prep, you buy the ingredients first, then start getting specific components of the meal ready so that when it's time to cook, You only have to do a few things each day. Meal preparation types. Meal planning has two main components: chopping vegetables and placing items for meals into containers, and actually cooking and freezing some pieces of the meal. Depending on how much time you think you'll have, you can do one or both of these alternatives. Some folks simply do the prep work, such as chopping all of their vegetables, measuring rice, and putting snacks into portioned baggies for the week. Others prepare the casseroles and chicken ahead of time and freeze them, making dinner as simple as tossing them in the oven. Useful containers. When it comes to food preparation, you should be cautious about the containers you utilize. These containers aren't just for storing ingredients and prepared foods. They're also for keeping things fresh in the fridge or freezer for a long time. You must be cautious about what you pick to store stuff in and how you store it. Here are a few food storage container suggestions. Select containers with tight-fitting lids. Make sure your containers have airtight lids to keep the food fresh. If you're going to use Tupperware-style containers, fill them halfway with water, then turn them upside down to see if any water leaks out. This is a wonderful technique to determine how fresh the food in the containers will be. Using mason jars to store stuff is a good idea. Mason jars are ideal for keeping a variety of products as well as meals. If you want to bring a salad to work, for example, separate each day's salad into its own container. Choose wide-mouth containers for the denser goods and place them at the bottom. So that the greens don't wilt or become burdened, they should constantly be at the top. Salad dressing should be kept in a separate container. When it comes to plastic storage containers, be cautious. It's fine to use plastic, but you should be aware of the type of plastic you're using. First and foremost, be sure it can be used in the refrigerator, freezer, microwave, and dishwasher. Also, make sure the plastic containers are free of BPA, which can be harmful when adding or heating food in them. Think about casserole plates that can be used for both baking and storage. You should utilize multi-purpose casserole plates when preparing larger meals ahead of time to just reheat each evening. Use glass dishes that may be used for baking as well as keeping the cookies in the freezer. If you don't let them cool down at room temperature after cooking before freezing them, they can crack. Meal preparation suggestions. There are a few more considerations to bear in mind as you begin meal preparation. After you've finished meal planning, follow these basic guidelines for meal preparation. Cook all of your meat at the same time. Label each container with an expiration date so you know when to use it. Take note of how leftovers are prepared. Use items that can be prepared ahead of time and used in several meals. Gather ingredients for the slow cooker and place them in freezer bags. Meal preparation suggestions. Here are a few different meal ideas that work well with meal planning and preparation. Make a variety of overnight oatmeal jars. Add overnight oats to many jars, one for each day of the week, to prepare some healthy breakfasts. You can vary the toppings for each day in addition to the oats. Cinnamon, sugar, slivered almonds or other nuts, dried fruit, berries or fresh fruit, raisins, and granola are some of the toppings to select. Prepare your vegetables by roasting them first. Spend one day roasting all the vegetables at once to have them ready for lunches and dinners throughout the week. Choose vegetables that will cook in about the same amount of time, roast them together, then arrange them in freezer containers. Instead of pasta, use a veggie spiralizer. Consider using a vegetable spiralizer to produce healthy, low-carb meals and meal prep at the same time. This technique turns veggies like zucchini and squash into spaghetti. On a Sunday, spiralize your vegetables and preserve them for the week's pasta meals. Bake all of the meat, then separate it out into freezer bags for each meal. Choose the meat you want to use for numerous meals and bake or cook it all at once. This can be done in the oven or in the slow cooker. Chicken breasts, fish fillets, and steak strips are all excellent choices. Salad vegetables and toppings should all be kept in the same container. You may speed up the preparation of your salads by putting all of the greens and veggies in separate containers. Keep all of your greens, as well as all of your chopped vegetables, in one large container.